Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Little bit of news, a little bit of gold, China, and everything. And gold's made a little jump today. See, it's depending on the day, right? Monday was down, and Tuesday didn't do much, and then today it's up. And at the bottom line, it's 33.65. It's really not moving well. If it gets to 3,400, they're shorting it because it's bullshit. We see silver 38.56 again. It went down to 37, and now it's back to 38.5. Obviously, price fixed, unfortunately. But with that news, China is ready to start pricing the physical gold. So China's going to do that very soon. They have vaults in Saudi Arabia. They have vaults in Hong Kong, Singapore. So they will start pricing it because they don't want this option game because they have the real gold. They want option. They want physical prices, and since they have 70,000 tons of gold, they don't want to play this option game. If you have 70,000 tons, you want the gold to go up. You don't really want it. Like, I want this to go up. I don't want it to go down because I already own it. So if you already own something, if I got a Mantle card or a Montana rookie, I want it to go to the moon. I don't want it to go down. So that's what happens. And again, there's no such thing as deflation. People want to think like the house goes down in value because of deflation. They don't even understand what deflation is because it's not real. Basically, what happens is you've got these assets that go up and they go up too much. And then all of a sudden the demand, it gets to a point there's no more market. So I always do this, right? Here's where the market is. Let's say a house. Okay, I'll pay $400,000 for it. I'm working, everything, interest rates are cheap. I can pay for. Really, I'm freezing. So what happens is it's 400,000, but then the housing people buy it as for the wrong reason as an investment, which it is not. Hey, Real Day, good morning. So as it goes up, the market isn't going with it, and then it keeps going up, and it keeps going up, and now it's 500, 600,000 for a house, but there's nobody home. All the buyers are down here. So then what happens? As these people have been buying, nobody's been, now they want to sell. Now they need money. They got to sell. But the market stayed at 400,000. So now the market starts, they call this a crash because they bought it over market. And then as they want to sell it, there's no buyers because you're too expensive. And then it kind of goes back to the market. They want to call this deflation. That's bullshit. It's you bought it too much and now it's just coming back to the market. It's the normal market. You sell it, what the people will give you for it is what the price is. And if your price is too high, if I want to charge you $500 for this bottle of Canadian Club and the market said $1, that's not deflation. I'm charging too much and there's nobody home. So I got to go down to a price where there's people to buy it. It's as simple as that. There's no deflation. But you see bubbles are like Microsoft stocks at 350. Well, it should never be that high. So people are buying it, but the market isn't that high. So then that's what a stock bubble is, where the government's buying it and Trump's buying it and everybody. That's like Bitcoin right now. Everybody's buying it. And so you do sell it and take profit, but it's really not worth that. It's just been bought up. Just like your house. So Bitcoin maybe should be 20,000 and now it's 110. But as they try to sell, there's no buyers there. So that's when it goes to, but that's what a bubble is. There's all this buying, but no selling. And then when they go to sell it, there's no demand, and then it tumbles. So, it could be a house, could be stocks usually. Usually it's stocks and houses that go into these bubbles because houses people buy as an investment. So they buy 5 of them. Yeah, real good move. Gold, on the other hand, we know is not high enough, so it's not in a bubble and it's way low. That's why no matter what happens, it's 33.65. People will buy it. Silver 38.55. It's way too cheap. People are buying it because it's manipulated. So it's going down when it shouldn't be. So the market, in this case, the market's here, and then gold and silver are here, and then they fuck around with this thing with these options, but people will pay this. People will pay $100 for silver once they realize that they got to get out of the dollar. So once you understand the game, you must get out of the dollar and go into gold and silver. You don't care what you pay for it. It's accumulating as much gold and silver as you can. That's the bottom line there. So enough of that for now. We'll get back into that. But we're going to spend some time today looking at college football. But let's just quickly go through the baseball yesterday. And it was a strange day for that. All right, we start off with Seattle, which is on a 7 or 8 game winning streak. They won 1-0 over Baltimore, which I would have thought would have been a high scoring game. Cincinnati beats Philly. Ranger Suarez 8-6 with the 3.28. Brady Singer. I don't know. Philly only got 1 run on this guy, so we lose with Philly. We don't play Cleveland, Miami. Cleveland does win. The Yankees start winning again. Toronto, Chicago, we don't have. Toronto wins 5-1. The Mets 13-5. We lose on Atlanta. That was a late play. The Mets are on a 7-game losing streak. Real D, do you agree with power rankings that rate Texas Longhorn as number 1 in the AP poll? Well, there shouldn't even be a poll at all because that's just people guessing. The reason they're number 1 is because of the game against Ohio State. They can promote it. Number 1 plays number 2 or 3, whatever. I don't think Texas is the best team. I don't like their quarterback. We got to see. He didn't do anything. Quentin Ewers was not a very good quarterback. He couldn't beat him out, right? I think he played a little in one of the Georgia games. He did nothing. So I'm not sold on Arch Manning. I think he wants to run too much also. But I'm not sold on him. Peyton Manning choked in the big games. He lost at Tennessee. He lost to Florida every year. In the pros, he lost all the big games to Brady. So he wasn't a winner. And I'm really not sure that Archie Manning Jr. is any good. So I don't buy that they're number 1. I'm not sure they're a top 5 team. They seem to have a decent defense. That's as far as I go with that. But I don't. Are they going to walk into Ohio State and beat them? Well, they might because Ohio State's got a got a transfer quarterback from Alabama who knows how good he is. So I think the winner of the game should be number 1 just because the other teams aren't playing anybody up to that standard. But I don't know how you can rank anybody in the top, rank anybody at all because you haven't seen one game. How do you know how anybody is, right? Michigan, well, they got the new quarterback underwear. Well, that's against high school players. Now he's in college at 18 playing 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. We don't know how good he is. So, no, I don't buy that, D. I think that it's strictly for TV. So they can advertise it as 1 playing. I think Ohio State's 3. And in both, they're fantasy numbers. They're not 1 and they're not 3, but they got to earn it. Okay, go ahead and beat somebody. The winner of the game should be number 1. The loser probably should be 5 or 6. But you still don't know how good's Penn State, Alabama, Georgia. You have no idea that Texas is better than Georgia. Texas lost twice to Georgia last year, and believe me, if they play them this year, they're going to lose again. So that's my feeling on polls and rankings. They're just strictly for TV to advertise the number 1 team. Like, we're this stupid. Like, we don't buy their number 1, and we don't watch it because they're number 1. We watch it because Ohio State's playing Texas. It's a good game. Hi, David. Good morning. No, not much. Thank you, David. I try to do well. Well, the thing is, I'm honest. So you know what, I say something it's real, and I think that's the most important ingredient. But I do watch a lot, and I do learn a lot. So not much up. Just watching gold finally gets to 33, 66, 67. I did watch a video today that China will take over the gold pricing. They're putting a vault in Saudi Arabia, so when they buy oil, they can just give them one and they can get gold for it. So Saudi Arabia wants the gold. If they're going to sell oil, they want something real. They certainly don't want the U.S. dollar. Pretty much everybody's aware that the dollar's worthless, collapsed. They had $100 billion in auction the other day, and nobody bought any of it. I guess the Federal Reserve bought their own bonds. Let me finish up with yesterday's bet. So I took Atlanta because the Mets are on a big losing streak, and the Mets won 13-5. So all streaks come to an end. Milwaukee 14-0. We had Milwaukee, and we had Milwaukee under. We had Milwaukee under because of Scanes. Scanes gave up like 7 runs and 5 innings and 100 pitches. So Milwaukee's playing, let's hit foul balls and all this thing. Let's have 10 pitch at bats. I don't know, but Milwaukee won 14-0. So we lose that. Milwaukee's on a huge win streak. So we win the Milwaukee side, but we lose the under. KC 8-5 over Washington, no play. This one I love. White Sox 9, Detroit 6. I did have the White Sox over 8. Jack Flaherty's terrible. 6-12 with the 5 ERA. And Yanders Gomez, I think it was a relief bullpen day. So they win 9-6, which I love it. I guess Detroit's not the best team in the league. Colorado beat St. Louis. Now, Colorado was on an 8-game losing streak, and we lost that. We only bet it because they were on an 8-game losing streak. This is why you start betting them at 4. So if you bet it, they're on a 4-game losing streak, you bet against them. 5, 6, 7. You win 3, and then you lose yesterday. So that's why 4 is the critical number to start playing them. Arizona beats Texas 3-2. And I got Houston over 8, and Boston won 14-1. Spencer Spaghetti, he sucked last year. He sucks this year. A big upset here. California beats the Dodgers 7-6. So people crying in Detroit that they lost to California. Well, they just beat the Dodgers. So maybe it wasn't that bad of a loss. Maybe you're just not that good. And then San Diego, we had beating Frisco 5-1. They're on a 5-game win streak, and Frisco's on a 5-game losing streak. Oakland beats Tampa 6-0. We didn't play it. Surprised there was a shutout. I don't know. I scratched my head. You're playing at a softball field in Oakland, and you win 6-0. So overall, we go 0-2, 1-2, 2-2. 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 4. And we go 5-4 yesterday. And now we get to 8-13. Again, my plays in the NFL preseason for this week. My first teaser is Atlanta plus 11.5, KC plus 3.5. Philly over 33, Green Bay plus 12. Although Love is out, I didn't care. Detroit plus 10, the Rams plus 10.5, and Baltimore plus 4.5, Buffalo over 33.5. So yeah, do I care? Well, Love didn't play much yesterday. He's hurt again. The guy's always hurt. He's not really that good of a quarterback. That's why when you ask me who's going to win the division, I don't know. Nobody has a quarterback. Goff is the best quarterback, but he's weak. He chokes. Get him off his spot, and he throws 5 interception games, especially in the playoffs and big games. Doesn't show up. Buffalo didn't show up. Houston didn't really show up. So he's a no-show. He's a no-show. So you got J.J. McCarthy, who's terrible. You got Caleb, who's we know is terrible, and Love, who's always injured and not really that good. So you have a bunch of nothing there. I like Philly's backups. This Tanner McGee stinks at Stanford, but it's hard because they're playing third and fourth stringers, and the team doesn't care depending on the coach. And this is why 7-8 coaches get fired every year because they don't play preseason ball. Then they wonder why they suck the first 5 weeks, and then they end up 6-11 and they get fired. So I don't want to get anybody hurt. This is football. You're going to get everybody hurt. Go play. All right, we start with Pitt and Milwaukee. Well, we know Milwaukee's on another big win streak, so we're going to go 5 units on Milwaukee. Mitch Keller, 5-10 with the 3.86 against Brandon Woodruff, 4-0 with the 2.29, who looks like a decent pitcher. Milwaukee, the best team because they have 75-44. Washington, Kansas City, Jake Irvin against Seth Lugo. I do like Seth Lugo. Let's go with KC. One of the reasons is KC's only 9. They're only 8.5 back at Detroit, so they can still catch them. So they're going to play. Washington's pretty bad, so look for KC with Seth Lugo to play a good game. Detroit at the White Sox again. Detroit doesn't announce their pitcher, so it isn't Skubal. And the White Sox, who knows? Total 8.5. Detroit. They're falling apart. I'm going to go over here. White Sox over 8.5, just because Detroit's pitching is so bad. I mean, they gave up 9 runs to Chicago yesterday with Flanagan with Joe Flaherty, and they just stink. So their bullpen, their starter's not good. Their bullpen comes in, and it's a joke. This is the problem with their manager. Like I said, a monkey could manage the Tigers. Oh, keep your eye on the pitch count, monkey. When it hits 95, you go out there and take the pitcher out who started and put in, if it's a righty. If it's the lefty batting, put in a lefty. And he's going to pitch 1 inning, and then you're going to go to a new pitcher the next inning, and a new pitcher the next inning. It doesn't matter. It's all random. And if a lefty comes out and we have a lefty up, put a righty in. This has got to be the dumbest manager I've ever seen. The only reason he won at Houston is he cheated. And believe me, they're cheating at home because they're much better at home than they are on the road. So they could put up their cheating. They could put up their mirrors or whatever they got, their little videos they can put up, at home. But they can't use it on the road. That's why they struggle on the road. But this manager's a joke because he doesn't change. In other words, you have a shit bullpen. My starters go in 8 innings, and then I maybe have one guy in the bullpen I can count on. You can't keep going to these weak. I had 3 or 4 pitchers yesterday with 6 ERAs. What is he doing? And you give up 9 runs to the White Sox. You got to have now. Secondly, he doesn't have good starters. Skubal, he's starting to fall apart. Casey Mize falling apart. Flanagan's terrible. Paddock, great acquisition, and Charlie Morton, who's he's 41 years old and he's got like a 6 ERA. So you can't really ask Paddock or Mize or Morton or Flaherty to go 7-8 innings. So you're really stuck. Skubal, when he's on, should pitch the whole game. He should pitch 8 innings, but otherwise you're fucked. So what you have here is a manager he sticks to his all he knows is, oh, I'm supposed to pull him at 95 pitches, and then I'm supposed to go one pitcher an inning because that's all I can do because that's all these guys can do is one inning, and then I go from there, and then after that I then skip to I just okay, you pitch your inning. Okay, next. No matter if you give up 1 run or 5 runs, you're still pitching that inning. But if you if you strike out 1, 2, 3, no, I can't bring you out for the next inning. Because you know how it works. It's some days you're on, some days you're not on, and when you're not on, you shouldn't be pitching. When you're on, pitch him 2 or 3 innings. But he doesn't know how to do that. So he's a very bad manager, I think. I think it's just pure dumb luck that the team was hitting. And now the team was hitting 280, 290, or all hitting 260s, which means they've been hitting about 190 for the last month and a half. And then they'll all be down in the 240s because that's about what they are. They're about 230, 240 hitters. You have no home run hitters. This Ricky Green strikes out like every time you give him a curveball. So like this Carpenter hits some home runs on pitches groove right down the middle. I don't call him a good hitter. In the big games, he doesn't do anything. Ricky Green's okay, but he strikes out all the time. So if you got second and third, you don't want to rely on him to get a hit. And Torkelson hits a few home runs, but usually with up or down 5-0 and solo homers most of the time. Not a very good hitter. He's hitting 240, but he walks a lot. Yeah, my number 4 hitter, I want to walk a lot. Unless he's Barry Bonds, I want him hitting. I don't want him walking. And he takes a lot of third strikes. It's close, he'll take it, and it's strike 3. And you're like, you've got to protect the plate. This is the biggest thing that the pros don't do now. I was at the golf course yesterday. I've been working on my back and chipping and putting a little bit to get my back loose. So I sit at the bench after on the first tee just to kind of stretch out, and then I go. Nobody goes behind the ball like Nicholas does to line it up, right? You're supposed to stand behind the ball and get your target, picture the ball, and then you go up to the ball, and get sideways and hit it. But in your mind, you have your target. These guys, nobody lines it up. They just go to the ball and hit it. And most of them go in the woods, occasionally to the left. How do you play golf and not line up your shot? I don't know what I'm watching anymore. People are getting way too weird for me. All right. Back to this. Colorado, St. Louis. See, normally I wouldn't have bet St. Louis yesterday because I didn't like Libertari because I watched them Saturday. He sucked against the Cubs. And the Cardinals didn't hit. And, so that's the difference between the pitcher and the streak. I didn't like it. When I saw the streak, I bet it. The same thing with the Mets. I didn't like it, but because they're on a 7-game losing streak, I took Atlanta and the Mets win. So what's better, the pitching or the streak? And I'm beginning to wonder which one to use. But again, that's what this is. This is testing around, getting examples to see what works and what doesn't. And the streak, if you catch it at 4, the Mets had lost 7 in a row. So you would have won 4, 5, and 6. So you should have won 3 and 1 if you always pick the streak at 4 and let it run. Again, you can only lose 1. I'm not going to play St. Louis against Colorado again or against the Mets again unless I have the good pitching. Arizona, Texas. Zach Gallen, 9-12 with the 5.3. 1 against Merrill Kelly, 9-7 with the 3.38. Who cares? San Diego and the 49ers. San Diego, we're going with. They are on a 5 or 6 game winning streak. The Niners are on a 5 or 6 game losing streak. And Nick Pivetta, 11-4 at the 2.94, goes against K. Wang Tang, 1-5 with the 5.40. So the pitching is with us and the streak. So then I'm going to make this 3 units. Philly goes to Cincinnati. Now, you just beat Ranger Suarez, which is good. I think Cincy probably plays better at home. I think most teams do. Philly, 128.5. Christopher Sanchez, 11-3, 2.36, goes against Hunter Green, 4.3, 2.72. Very good matchup. This goes under. Philly, under 8.5. And we're going to go 3 units here. This is two good pitchers. Hunter Green's their ace. Sanchez, Ranger Suarez. I think there's another. Philly's got pitching. And that's the key. The Tigers don't have pitching. So at the bottom of the line, I can stop your hitting with good pitching, but it doesn't matter how good your hitting is. You're not hitting it. Seattle goes to Baltimore. Seattle is on a nice win streak where we'll go with Seattle for 3 units. Seattle, Logan Gilbert, 3-4, 3.35 against Trevor Rogers, 5-2 with the 1.44. Looking at this is going to be a low-scoring game. Seattle is on the streak. It's at Baltimore, and Rogers is pitching very well and a 1.44 ERA, and he's 5-2, so it's not like 1 or 2 games. I'm going to go under in this game also because it was a 1-0 game yesterday. And I'm going to put 3 units on that. So I will stay with Seattle on the streak, but when I look at the matchup, it's an under, and it was a 1-0, so I'm going to go under. Miami, Cleveland, 135, 7.5. Cleveland's now 5.5 back of Detroit. Yuri Perez, 4-3 with the 3.25 against Gavin Williams, 7-4, 3.17. Miami's a good team. They're not that bad. They're not as bad as the Dolphins. Cleveland has been hot. They did win yesterday, and they're the better team, and they're smelling Detroit's falling. And so look for them. I'm going to take Cleveland 2 units, just the fact that the way it's going. Minnesota and the Yankees 150.5. So they were shit, and now they're starting to get alive. So yes, David, they have it. Then now look at the Mets. They won yesterday. The Yankees won yesterday. It ebb and flows based on the pitcher, and then they get new teams all the time, right? Now they're playing the Minnesota, So some teams you play better than others. It's just the way it is. Some pitchers you hit better than others. And here we have Joe Ryan, 11-5 with the 2.79 against Cam Schittler. 1-2 with the 4.38. I like Minnesota here with Joe Ryan. I'm not going to play it. I don't know why the Yankees are a 150 favorite. Cam Schittler, 1-2 with the 4.38, and Joe Ryan's 11-5 with the 2.79. So this is a strong dog here. I'm not going to play Minnesota, but I think if you're looking for a dog, that's the dog. The Cubbies in Toronto, 2 pretty even teams. Toronto 135, 8.5. Cade Horton 6-3 with the 3.18 for the Cubbies. Kevin Gausman 8-8 with the 3.85 for Toronto. It was a low-scoring game yesterday. I don't know. 2 good pitchers, and you don't know what you're getting. I mean, look at Ranger Suarez yesterday with his 2.80 ERA, and they gave up 6 runs. I don't think he did. Or look at Scanes yesterday. Again, he had a shutout last time 6-0, and now he goes and it's 8-1 or something, 8-0, or 12-0. I mean, he didn't give up. He gave up like 5 runs. He gave up like 8 hits and 5 runs, which is very unscanes like. So, but that just shows you even the stars can have a bad day. Atlanta goes to the Mets, and the Mets 2.10.9. Carlos Carrasco 2-2, 6.18. David Peterson 7-5 with the 2.98. The Mets got the win yesterday to break the streak. And Carlos Carrasco used to be good on Cleveland, so I'm going to go with the JETSs today. 2 units. I like Peterson, and they finally got the win, and now they can try to get back against Philly. Boston and Houston, Walker Buehler, 7-6, 5.40 against Hunter Brown, 9-5, 2.51. I'm going Houston here. I like the Hunter. 9-5, 2.51. Walker Buehler's terrible. The Dodgers in California. California won yesterday. The Dodgers 210, 9.5. Shohei Ohtani, he'll throw his 2 innings, and Kyle Hendricks, who's terrible. 6-8 with the 4.63. The Tigers beat him for a lot. I'm not going to play the Dodgers because Ohtani, I think he's up to like 3 innings, 50 pitches. I don't know what it is. I mean, either you can throw or you can't throw. If you can throw, let him pitch the whole game. If you can't throw, shouldn't even be in there. And Tampa Bay, Oakland. Tampa's a 139.5 favorite at Oakland. Drew Rasmussen, 9-5 with a 2.66, goes against JT Ginn. Sounds like that Ohio State quarterback. What was it? TJ Ginn or whatever. 2-4 with a 4.39. Yeah, I can see why Tampa's the favorite, but I'm not going to play him. So that's it. Let's see if there's any streak. The only streak I can remember is Milwaukee. Baltimore's on a 3-game losing streak. We'll wait till 4. And then Seattle's on an 8-game winning streak, which we have played Seattle. And that's American League, not much. National League, we've got a 4-game losing streak for Miami. I think we did play against them. Milwaukee's on an 11-game win streak, and we did play them. Pittsburgh's on a 4-game losing streak, but they play Milwaukee, and they beat Skane, so I'm jumping on Milwaukee 5 units today. And then the San Diego, San Francisco. San Diego's on a 4-game win streak. Frisco's on a 4-game losing streak, so I'm playing San Diego because they're playing Frisco, the team on the losing streak. So that is baseball. Milwaukee's the big one at 5. San Diego at 3. Philly under 3. Seattle 3. And Seattle under 3. And Houston, the Mets, Cleveland are 2. And the White Sox over 8.5 are 2. Kansas City 2. So here's where AI will not work. You are now going against other thoughts. In other words, Kansas City and Cleveland, who I played, can now catch Detroit because they're playing like they should be playing. They're probably not even a 500 team. They just all got really hot, stealing pitches and stuff like that, like you did at Houston the first half of the year, and they won a lot of games against weaker teams. And now they're cold. And they're losing to the White Sox 9-4. Their pitching staff sucks. Their bullpen sucks. It's like a good offense. They're like the Lions. They have a good offense, no defense. You don't win games, right? Philly wins with the good defense. You're okay with Barkley running, but if you don't have a defense and you don't have pitching and relief in baseball, you're not winning. And even Skubal struggled, gave up 4 runs and 5 innings. I don't even know if he got 5 innings in last game. So they're struggling, they're feeling the pressure, and they're choking, basically. And because they never should be there. Everybody yells at the owner, but the owner is not. He doesn't want to spend money. That's his bottom line. He let all the good players go for nothing. It's all a money thing. He doesn't pay anybody. He's got Happy Baez. I don't know how he got stuck with that contract. He will never sign Skubal because he's too expensive. But if you look at all these guys, they're all minor league guys with minor league contracts, and let him go. He's not going to sign anybody. It's sort of like the Lions. They never signed anybody once their contract ended, like Chris Spielman, Lomas Brown, and those guys. Only Barry and Kelvin would they re-sign because they had to. The fans would quit if they didn't sign Barry. But that's the problem. So you've got very cheap owners here. The Red Wings are very cheap. It's the same owner, right? Mr. I's kids are just, I don't know. They're billionaires from Mr. I, and yet they don't want to win. Illich wanted to win. That's the difference. So did Dombrowski, right, when he was here. But now you've got the owner, Illich's son. He doesn't want to win. It's about a business to him. He wants to make money. He's confused. He just wants to make. Doesn't want to spend anything. I don't think Ricky Green, and I don't think he even makes $1 million a year. Will he sign him to a long-term contract? Never. Not at $20 million a year. He won't. He'll never do that because he feels I don't need to. Right? The fans. He didn't even care if they won. They didn't get anybody at the trade deadline. Everybody's bitching and moaning. Well, why? He'd have to pay money. So he got cheap guys, Paddock and the other guy, Morton, who suck. and he gets these guys. I don't know why, because of injuries, I guess. So again, he doesn't want to win. It's a business. He wants to make money, and he's not going to pay $20 million for a player. He did it with Baez. I think he had to or something. But and Baez sucks. He won't re-sign him. That's for sure. What a mistake that was. All right. So that's your baseball. We're not really going to get into exhibition football today. We are going to look at college football week 1. So we have 2 pieces. We have the 23rd, and then we get to the 28th. And there's 4 games on the 23rd. And let's take a look. All right. So what I've done is I've gone through Gray's Sports Almanac, which is here. It gives you all the results, just like Back to the Future. It gives me the scores of every game this year. I wish. And so I go through and I'm looking. I've added, is the quarterback returning or new? Even if he's transfer, he's new. And is the coach returning or new? So I've done that for every game. Now, I do not have picks yet, but I kind of have an idea what I'm going to do. The first game's the 23rd, which is 10 days away, so we're getting close. So let's just go through the lines and see if anything's moved. Iowa State or Kansas State, 3.5, 49.5. That number hasn't moved. Iowa State was an A team. Kansas State's good team. Rocco Brack and Avery Johnson, I believe, are the quarterbacks. K-State surprisingly had a 29 defense. Normally they had a very good defense. Iowa State 21 always has a very good defense. Both quarterbacks return. Both coaches return. Better coach, Iowa State's. Better quarterback, Iowa State's. Better defense, Iowa State. So that's what we're looking at. Because once you have a new coach and a new quarterback, you have no data. Now it becomes we don't know. We know what we get with Iowa State and Kansas State. All right. Fresno State and Kansas, we got Kansas 12.5, 50.5. That's down from 14.5. Fresno State was an E team with Mikey Keene last year. He's now at Michigan. Look for him to start. I think he might be injured. I got to see what happened to Mikey. Kansas is an over team. Very good coach. They score a lot. Their quarterback Daniels is back. He's no Jalen Daniels, but his name is Jalen Daniels, I believe. One of these dual quarterbacks who can run, but he's not a really good thrower. Bean, I don't know what happened to Bean. Bean was a good quarterback. I don't know. I don't see him in the NFL, but he should be. Fresno State was an E team. Both teams 25 defense. Total on the game's 51. New quarterback Fresno State, as I said, Mikey Keene's gone. Also, I don't have the coach. Where's the coach? Mac. Fresno State. New coach. How did I miss that? Or maybe I got it further down because they played like 2 weeks. Anyway, it's a new coach. First year at Fresno, he's 80-11 in 5 years. Is that 80 or 60? That's 60-11 in 5 years. So he's probably one of these Division II guys that wins it. Bloomberg State or something. And now he comes into Fresno State. The quarterback is KJ Warner, who is Kurt Warner's kid who played at Rice and another in Temple. And he's not Kurt Warner. Much as he wants to be, he just didn't inherit Kurt Warner's stuff. So he's okay. Kansas, Kansas at home, 12. They got the better offense. The defense is even. Quarterback, big edge to Kansas, and the coach is very good at Kansas. Okay. We go to Stanford and Hawaii. And Hawaii is now 2.5, 52.5. Stanford was favored. Hawaii is the 2.5, and it went to 52.5. So that dropped. So something happened with Stanford. They're now the dog, and the total dropped. Both teams have new quarterbacks, but Hawaii's quarterback played, had like 6 touchdowns and 0 picks in like 1 or 2 games last year. Coach is back. Timmy Chang, who's used to be the quarterback there. Again, this is the problem with putting in an offensive guy who doesn't know how to coach, but he knows how to coach the quarterback. And Stanford's got a new coach. So new coach, new quarterback. And something happened. We'll have to look into that. But Stanford with the 33 defense. So Stanford's going to be pathetic. Hawaii, 26 defense. They were playing pretty good defensively last year. So this is what happens, and why I bitch about the offensive coordinators being coaches. Because what happens is the offensive coordinators come in, but they don't know how to coach the defense, and they don't know how to coach the team. Like Ben Johnson in Chicago has no idea how to coach the team, no idea what to do with the defense. So he's going to be coaching the offense, but you got an offensive coordinator. That's why you hire one. So I think if Ben Johnson's lost. Caleb apparently is terrible. He's not getting the offense at all. He's not, because it was a lot of play action pass. Well, Chicago doesn't have running. Apparently they just signed 4 defensive backs, so they're showing they have big trouble in the secondary. And Caleb can't really read defenses, so it's not something you just pick up. He couldn't read it. He's a good athlete. He kind of scrambles, nifty, where he can kind of get away, but that's not a quarterback. Again, Caleb's probably more of a slot receiver. Again, you're trying to make these athletes be quarterbacks, and they're not. It doesn't work. It never has. It never will, because the defense is just too fast and too physical. You cannot possibly do that. You can burn them once with like play action or misdirection, but that's it. You get one, and then you're in trouble. All right. So I don't know. We'll have to read more into it. But Hawaii's quarterback was decent, but I think we need to see more work, and we got to see how bad Stanford is. And our last game is Western Kentucky, Sam Houston. Western Kentucky 10 and 16.5. Now, Sam Houston was a good team, but their coach moved on. I think he's at Temple. So you got a new coach at Sam Houston. The quarterback's back, but he wasn't any good anyway. They were a good defensive team. Western Kentucky gets a new quarterback from Abilene Christian, but I think their coach is the same. So, this is where them and Marshall lost their coaches who were pretty good. It was like when the coach left, James Madison was a great team a couple of years ago, and he went to Indiana, and Indiana was a playoff team. So you got to watch the coach when he makes these moves. So look for Southern Miss to be good. Maybe Temple should be a lot better. The coach comes in, he cleans out. Willie Fritz, he went from Georgia Southern, and he went to, I don't know if it was Tulane or one of those Sun Belt teams, and now he's at Houston. And look for them to get better. And he comes in with a good defense and a good offense. As you move up in class, does it still work? We've seen a lot of coaches. Scott Frost, who thought Joe Burrow was a better safety than quarterback. So I lost all confidence in him, but he was at UCF, and then he made the jump to Nebraska, and he was terrible. Now he's back at UCF. I don't know why they want him, but whatever. So I don't know. We got to see. Sam Houston should be a very bad team, probably a Z team. I see a total of 61. I'm just laughing. How the hell are they going to score 61? if Western Kentucky, Sam Houston's not going to score. They don't have an offense. They had a they had a 20 defense. So if this is needs a 61, that means Western Kentucky's going to score 50 of the points. So maybe we look at Western Kentucky -4. And then we don't know. The new quarterbacks from Abilene Christian, we have nothing on that. Western Kentucky, do we have them again? I'm just looking to see if I wrote something about the coach in the second game. No, let me look at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's in Conference USA. Hold on. No, they got a regular coach. Western Kentucky's usually a pretty good team, pretty good offense. So I don't know. You're getting a guy from Abilene Christian. You tell me. I don't know. We'll see. That's what you got to see is he's going to adjust. He's probably good, but we got to see. You can't get really any stats on him. Maybe I can, but usually Western Kentucky picks a good quarterback. All right, so that's your first week. You got the 23rd. You got 4 games. Iowa, Kansas State's from Ireland. Fresno State, Kansas, and then Sam Houston, Western Kentucky. So it's very limited. Now we go to 8:28. And we got Boise, South Florida. And we've got Boise 664.5, down from 8.5. And up from 63 to 64. Boise's, again, was an A team. South Florida's an over team. So there should be points in the game. South Florida with the 29 defense, Boise with the 22. Again, it's just to get some basis because everything's different this year. Will they still have it? Probably. They'll probably be a similar team. Both coach and quarterback are returning from last year. So you're going to get consistency at quarterback, and the coach won't change everything around. So South Florida will still be a pretty strong running team. And Boise, now they lose Gentry. But, a lot of it was the coach and the system that he ran that allowed Gentry. But Gentry was a bull in a china shop. I was listening to like Rookie of the Year, offense and defense last year. Or yesterday, and Gentry should win by a mile. There's really no competition. Cam Ward sucks. This Prime Junior on the both way guy. Receivers don't win this award, and cornerbacks don't win the award. There was a bet like 80-1 on him winning both. Well, he ain't going to win either. Where's the bet where he won't win either? That's what I want to bet. But it's kind of weak for offense this year. Maybe Scattaboo, running back from Iowa, is on Pittsburgh, the running back. There's a few running backs. There's no receivers at all. They're pretty weak, and there's really no quarterbacks. Tyler Shaw is nothing. So maybe Scattaboo, because he's on the Giants, could have a big year. I guess he's got a hamstring injury. Well, who knows? They tweaked their hamstring now, and it's preseason, so they just, okay, you're done for now. But Scattaboo can score. He'll get you a lot of touchdowns. But anyway, don't start with those sucker bets. I mean, that's just bet Gentry if you want to. But again, why? He can get hurt, and then you lose your money. So just don't waste it on shit like that. That's all this radio station is like Bet MGM, and they're just trying to get you to bet sucker bets. And they go, oh, I'm taking that, and it's they're all sucker bets to get you. They want to get you to bet. That's what they're doing. Oh, I'm betting this. I bet that. It's all bullshit. They don't bet it. If they bet, they'd be broke because they're a bunch of idiots. All right. Ohio and Rutgers. Rutgers is up to 14.5. It was 10. And 46.5, 47. Ohio's a B team with the 17 defense, returning quarterback and coach. They were a good team. I think Miami of Ohio won the MAC. Rutgers, 14.5. We like Shiano. He's a good defensive coach. Quarterback's back. 24 defense. I don't know. Is it really one you want to play? Ohio with a good, they're a good team, good defense. Maybe, probably a low-scoring game. Maybe you go under. Hard to say. These are you got to watch the teams going out of conference because that's really, oh, this is a good offensive team and they're playing Alabama, and you think, well, they'll score 20 on them, and it's 49-0. But Alabama does is they just put pressure on you. They blitz the quarterback, and they can't handle the blitz, and that's what happens. But in conference, they don't have the same type of defenses, so they score a lot. Jacksonville, UCF. We have UCF 16.53.5. It was 56. Jacksonville's in big trouble. They had Rich Rodriguez. He's moved on back to West Virginia again. I don't know, what is this go back? Let's go West Virginia back to West Virginia. And the other guy, what's his name? Frost goes back to UCF. Okay, they've been there once. Let them go. Jacksonville State was a B team. They got a new quarterback and a new coach. Look out. They're not going to be anything. UCF, an over team last year, new quarterback, new coach. So it's really hard to say if UCF blows them out or not. But Jacksonville State will definitely be a weaker team, we think. But again, we got to know what the coach is. Wyoming and Akron. Wyoming is down to 7.5. Was 9. And 50.5. Okay, that number didn't change. Wyoming, a W team. Akron, probably a Z team. 32 defense for Akron, 28 for Wyoming. New quarterback at Wyoming, same coach and same coach and quarterback for Akron. They're not getting the highly skilled NIL players or transfer portal guys. This whole transfer portal is ridiculous. This whole NIL is ridiculous. You've been recruited. So if Ford recruits me to come to them and they interview me and they take me there and then I get hired by them, I mean, yeah, thanks but I'm going to go work at GM 6 months later. I mean, what is that? Well, it wasn't what I thought. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't know how football, no wonder they all cried when the guy got injured on the Lion game last week. Oh, we have to stop the game and we have to cry and we can't play. Unbelievable. So I don't know. Wyoming, Akron should suck again. Wyoming, they're kind of a weak team, and they're not that good on the road usually. East Carolina, NC State. We've got NC State 11.5, 59.5. So the total went up from 57. East Carolina was an over team. They got returning quarterback and coach. So does NC State. Both over teams last year. NC State normally has a good defense. Their defensive coordinator is the head coach somewhere. I got it on my spreadsheet. So I don't know what's going on with NC State, but the quarterback's back. I don't think it was too good anyway. We'll look at all the quarterbacks from last year. it's okay. Like the NC State quarterback should be the same as this year. What'll happen is when you get a new coach comes in, like at Fresno State, now you've got Kurt Warner Jr. and but he's got to match up with the coach has to run the offense that Kurt Warner Jr. can play with. Otherwise, that's the thing with Hendon Hooker on the Lions. People don't get it. He ran a different offense at Tennessee, and he ran it very well, and they beat Alabama 50-49. And now he comes to the Lions, they're running a different offense. Why'd you draft him? You can't plug and play. He can't just fit into this offense if he fit into another style, right? It just doesn't work. And he's not bad. He just, if you're going to be set on a Jared Goff offense that only Jared Goff seems to be able to master because he can do play action pass. Now, what is this new coordinator doing? Is he going to put in his own offense, or is he going to leave the other offense in? Probably leave the other offense in because he has no choice. If he changes it, Goff, we'll see the real Goff, and he's not very good. Hooker's very good, but not. You're really screwing him by putting him in this style of offense and not really training him. Now he's got another new offensive coordinator, and he's just he doesn't know what to do because you're asking him to do things that he didn't do at Tennessee. And obviously you're not helping him out. So, what can I say? Kyle Trask, he looks really good at Tampa. We'll see him this weekend and see what he's up to. But anyway, that's the key is, are you changing your offense and defense with the new coach comes in and he puts in his style? You can't. You got to put in what your players are. Don Shula was good at that. He had John Unitas. Now, he did not win a title at Baltimore. He did choke Super Bowl III because it was fixed. But he had John Unitas and Earl Morrall, and then he went to Miami and basically changed his offense because he had Zonka and Kick, Greasy and Warfield. So he went from a passing offense at Baltimore with Unitas to a running offense with Zonka and Kick, but a little bit of passing with Greasy and Warfield. Then he gets Marino, and he gets away from the offense that won him the Super Bowl, which was the Packer offense. We're going to run it down your throat and play defense. All of a sudden, didn't have the defense anymore with Marino, no more defense, and now he's a passing offense that he ran in Baltimore, and guess what? Never won another title because that doesn't work. He had the key, the running and the defense. They had a great defense, but that was it. But he never went back to it. He never had a great defense. That's why Marino never won. So Shula did adapt slightly, but then went back to his passing offense. So, again, he had David Woodley. They couldn't do shit. And then he goes to Marino. They go to the Super Bowl once, and then that was it because he never had a defense. And a lot of it is because of Marino. You don't have a defense because they don't rest. 3 plays, boom, touchdown or interception, and the defense never rests. So you really screw your defense with this passing offense. All right, let's keep moving. Buffalo and Minnesota. We got Minnesota 16.5, 45.5. Buffalo's an over team. Minnesota is a B team. They got a new quarterback, but now they have another new one. So they had one last year. Now they have a new one. He's a freshman. Look for a low-scoring under team, returning coach, and a new quarterback for Buffalo from Kansas State, who really wasn't that good at Kansas State, and a same coach. Buffalo is a good MAC team. However, are they a good Big Ten team? They go to Minnesota, 16.5. I would never take Minnesota with a freshman quarterback on a coach who usually usually likes to run the ball and play the defense. So this is either an under game or maybe it's a dog game, but Buffalo with a 28 defense. So Minnesota will keep the score down, I think. So it's a tough one. let's see. Big Nebraska. Now we're still on the 28th. Nebraska, Cincinnati. We have Nebraska 6.5, 52.5. Number hasn't really changed. And again, this line, I'm just using Yahoo for the line. I'm sure if I go to other sites or some other where they have multiple lines, we'll get a different line. So what's Nebraska this year? Nebraska, they were an under team last year. Raiola didn't show much, but a very good defense. And that's what the coach gives you. Rule gives you a good defensive team. So returning quarterback, Raiola, returning coach, Rule, Cincinnati, returning quarterback and returning coach. Cincinnati, not much. This is why the coach, Fickle, why did he leave Cincinnati to go to Wisconsin? Well, you want to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State every year. Now you get Oregon and Washington and USC. Or you could have stayed in Cincinnati and played that. So you took the money and killed your career because he's done. He's not a good coach. So Cincinnati, well, this isn't Fickle. This is the new coach. But I don't know. They were an even team. So they scored 25, gave up 25. Nothing good here. Nebraska. Probably a lower scoring game because Nebraska, Raiola's not good. At least he wasn't last year, but their defense was. So their defense will come to play. We will see. But Cincinnati, they have good years every once in a while, but last year wasn't one of them. So be careful with Cincinnati here. Miami of Ohio and Wisconsin, thinking of Luke Fickle. Wisconsin, 17.5, 39.5. That went down from 41 and 17.5. Miami of Ohio is an under team with an 18 defense, new quarterback, and a returning coach. Very good coach. I believe they won the MAC. Wisconsin, an under team, a 23 defense, a new quarterback, and a returning coach, Fickle. Wisconsin normally doesn't score much anyway. They tried the run and shoot or shotgun or whatever. Didn't work. You had Tyler Van Dyke. You had Mordecai, I believe, from SMU. It didn't work. I saw somebody cut Mordecai, the Niners or somebody like that, which I was shocked. So this is what Miami of Ohio. So Miami of Ohio, a good team, an 18, so a good defensive team, same coach. Total of 40 just seems too low here. Wisconsin, I don't know if they're going to run it down your throat with Ron Dane again or what. Miami of Ohio, probably a defensive struggle, I would think. Army gets Tarleton State. Go Army, beat Navy. We go to the 29th, and we've got App State and Charlotte. And we've got App State 7.5, 53.5. Down from 8.5. Charlotte, an over team, or App State, an over team with a 33 defense. Joey Aguilar is gone, but they got a new coach, and it's his first time coaching. Ooh, bad point here. Charlotte, a Z team with a 35 defense, a new coach, and a new quarterback. What do? We got two new coaches. We got two new quarterbacks. This is not the App State that would beat everybody. Charlotte's a Z team. They've really fallen apart. Normally, what we would do is take App State here going against the Z team. Is Charlotte still a Z team? Probably. Is App State an over team? We don't have enough information to really make the call on. Western Michigan at Michigan State. We've got Michigan State 19.5, 49.5, up from 18. But 49 was the total. Western's an over team, 31 defense, weak defense, new quarterback, same coach. Michigan State was a W. but they do play Big Ten and a 26 defense, the same quarterback in Childs and the same coach. I like the coach. He was good at Oregon State. Um, it's hard to walk in. You got Michigan recruiting, Ohio State, Notre Dame recruiting against you, first of all. But he had that at Oregon. He had Oregon recruiting against him in Washington. So Michigan State 18 they're a W team. They're not a big explosive team, and their defense is bad. Western, new quarterback. Hard to say. Michigan State never really like blows out these teams. They're always like, especially early, they're playing the Western Michigans, the Central Michigans, and it's usually close. I don't know. There's really no defense here, so maybe it's an overplay, but I don't like it. Tennessee State against Wake Forest. This is on the 29th. And we've got Wake Forest was 17 and 53. That number hasn't changed. Wake Forest, an over team last year. Kennesaw State, a Z team. This is a coach, first time ever coaching, new quarterback. So Rich Rodriguez had him scoring a lot. Now you got a new coach, which we don't know who he is. Wake with the 32 defense and a new quarterback, and they got a new coach. So you've got unknown. How do you bet unknown? You don't bet unknown. You wait till you know it. There's a lot of knowns, and this is an unknown. So Wake Forest should pound them because they get the win over a Z team, Kennesaw State. You think they're still an ACC team. So I don't know. Auburn and Baylor. We've got Auburn 257.5. This line keeps moving. It was Auburn 2, Baylor 1, Auburn 2. Total 57.5. That hasn't moved. New quarterback for Auburn. And Hugh Freeze, the new coach for Auburn. Now, he's been there before. We saw him in the playoff game against Florida State. Baylor, an over team. I love their quarterback, Robertson. 25 defense. Auburn with the 21 defense. So the quarterback and coach are still there for Baylor. I think Baylor's a very live dog in this game, and I think this should be a high-scoring game. Baylor will score on you, and we'll see what Auburn do. But Hugh Freeze is usually a good coach, good running coach, and they usually score points. So I would think that. My Georgia Tech against Colorado. Georgia Tech is -4 and 54. That hasn't moved against Colorado. Colorado, new quarterback, returning coach, Prime Jr. or Prime. Georgia Tech, Haynes King. We love Haynes King and a great coach. Georgia Tech was an E team with a 25 defense. And Colorado was basically an over team with a 22 defense. Or maybe, no, they're an A team. But I question that. Oh, more potential spam. So I just like Georgia Tech's experience. Colorado with a new quarterback. And they lost the receiver cornerback guy. I just think Georgia Tech's played in a lot of big games. Clemson, Florida State, Georgia. They almost beat Georgia. They lost by like a field goal at the end there. So for them to go to Georgia, going to Colorado isn't much. Laying 4. I was hoping they were the dog, and I would have locked Georgia Tech as the dog, but we got to lay 4. Definitely like Haynes King. He's a winner, and we don't know what Colorado's got. They brought in a guy, I think from I don't know if it was from Tulane or one of these, kind of an option type of quarterback. I'll go with Haynes King, thank you. And I like the Georgia Tech coach for sure. So definitely, I think Georgia Tech should get the win here. I wish the spread was a little bit better for us. Next game, Vegas is playing Sam Houston. We've got Vegas 13.5, 58.5. Vegas was an A team last year, 22 defense. They got a new quarterback this year. The other quarterback transferred to USC, and the one from last year, I don't know where he went. Mullen is the new coach from Old Mississippi State, which I like their coach they had. Sam Houston's an under team. The quarterback's back, but they got a new coach who's not as good as the good coach went to Temple. So I don't know. Again, I don't think Sam Houston, I think, is going to be in trouble. Vegas, I don't know. With Mullen, he runs a lot of – he's more of a running coach. I think he had Dak Prescott and ran him a lot. So hard to say what Vegas – I don't think there'll be an A team with Mullen. I don't think he's as good as the coach they lost. Sam Houston will fall off too. But they didn't score much. They were an under team, and I can't imagine them being an under team with this new coach. So we have to watch and learn on this game. Central Michigan and San Jose State. Where did they go? It's a noon game. Where did you go? See, I write this list, and then they do the time changes, and then so a team at the bottom moves up in here, but not in my thing. But I can't find them. Where the hell are they? This is wild. I know I've seen them. There's Eastern, Western. Yeah, I put it in, and then I have it. So I thought I missed it, but no, I didn't miss it. So where the hell is it? San Jose State. This is wild. This is the third time I've gone through the list. Can't find it. Saw that I wrote it in because I thought I missed it and crossed it out because I have it. So where is it? Anyway, we'll have to come back to it. I had San Jose State 10.5, 51.5. It's now 12.5, 50.5. San Jose State has the Navy coach, so it's a very good team. Central's got a new coach, and they're in trouble. This is so weird. This game's on the 29th. Oh, that's why. Oh, now this is really bothering me. I can't find the game. Oh, here it is. Jesus Christ. It's the first game that was on the thing. And it's funny, it's an 8:29 game. So here it is. Sorry about that. So it's 12.5 and 50.5. Central is a W team, 30 defense, returning quarterback, new coach, first time ever. San Jose State's an E team, 26 defense, returning quarterback, and the coach is the Navy coach. They're laying 12 and a half. I think San Jose State at home on the West Coast should be a good play there. Old Mississippi State and Southern Miss. This is 8:30. See, this is way out. This is changed to noon. It was a night game. All right. We've got Old Miss, Mississippi State, 11 and a half, 61 and a half. Old Mississippi State, an over team with a 34 defense, same quarterback, same coach. Southern Miss, a B team. We're a Z team. I'm already calling them a B team because the coach is from Marshall, and they were great last year. The quarterback is from Marshall. He was 19-2 last year on Marshall. So the whole thing, the 37 defense, we don't know. If we look at Marshall's last year, which I should have Marshall in here. Yeah, I don't know where the hell they are. They might not be week one. Anyway, look for Southern Miss to be a very strong team, and yet everything will be very weak. This line should probably be 7, and they're getting 11 and a half, but it was 12 and a half, so people are starting to bet them. They won't have a 37 defense. So we know from Marshall they were a good team. They did get killed by Ohio State, Marshall, but this is Old Mississippi State, so I don't know. Two bad defenses. So Old Mississippi State will still suck, but Southern Miss will be a lot better. Syracuse, Tennessee. This is now on Saturday. We have Tennessee 14 and a half, 50 and a half. This is down from 54. Syracuse was an over team last year. The quarterback stuck. He used to be at Ohio State, and he sucked there. And a returning coach, Tennessee, an A team with a 14 defense, a new quarterback, Aguilar, who's not new, transferred from App State, and a returning coach who has a very good offense. So Tennessee's going to score early and often in this game. Syracuse, they're in trouble with the new quarterback to just go into Tennessee and light it up. Look for points in this game. Look for Tennessee early and often. Ball State and Purdue. We've got Purdue at a 17 and a half, 50 and a half. Ball State's an over team with a 40 defense. New coach, new quarterback, of course. Purdue, a Z team with a 40 defense and a new quarterback and a new coach. Both teams suck. Purdue sucks worse because they're in the Big Ten. Just this is how you get fired when you listen to analytics or algorithms or all the bullshit. Ball State's an over, not a Z, so they could score. So will we get a lot of points because both defenses suck? Could be, but we don't know the quarterback, so it's a watch game. All right, the game of the week: Texas, Ohio State. Ohio State 2.5 and 48.5. So somebody needs to explain to me, if Texas is the number one team, why are they the dog? So that answers your question, Real D. If they're the number one team, they would be favored, no matter where the game's at, because they're the best team. So take that. Both are A teams. Both have new quarterbacks. Both have returning coaches, and both have very strong defenses. Texas a 13, Ohio State a 10. A very easy pick. That's what you look at. Now, do I want Texas is a dog. Not with Arch Manning. Not until he shows me. It's like Prime Jr. should be the starter for Cleveland. Well, got to show me stuff. You can't just say he is because he's Prime's son. And it's the same thing here. You can't just say because he's Archie Manning's grandkid that he's a good quarterback. You know, he couldn't beat out Urs. When you show me against Ohio State, you light it up for 4 touchdowns, you're the Heisman Trophy winner. We'll bet you the rest of the year. We know that's not going to happen. Both quarterbacks are new. Lost Chip Kelly to Oakland, Ohio State. Look for their productivity to go down. They got Matt Patricia as their defensive coordinator. They're in big fucking trouble. I can't believe they settled for him. Texas, good defense. They played low scoring against Georgia, and I think this is what you're going to get is a Tennessee-Georgia game, 13-10 or something like that. That would be my thought. And Ohio State had a 10 defense. So Ohio State will have a good defense. And this is the way they recruit, and Texas should also. So look for this to be a defensive struggle. Florida Atlantic and Maryland. We've got Maryland 14.5, 57.5. This was 17. So down to 14 and 50. But the total didn't change, which is really weird. Florida Atlantic was an over team with the 30 defense. Maryland, a W with the 30 defense. Both have new quarterbacks. Maryland's coach comes back. I don't know why. And a new coach for Florida Atlantic. And Velkamp is the quarterback, came from somewhere, but I looked at him. He's not very good anyway. So what's the big deal? Maryland normally plays good in these type of games at home against a weak team. They normally run it up. So we will see. Could be an over game. Florida Atlantic looks like they can score, but both defenses suck. Northwestern and Tulane. We've got Tulane 6.5, 46.5. Tulane's an A team, 20 defense. The quarterback went to Duke, I believe. So new quarterback who's average, and the coach is from Troy last year. So he's not new. Northwestern has got a new quarterback, the same coach, but it's not Fitzgerald. It's a new coach from last year who kind of sucked. Northwestern was a W team. They don't score with the 26 defense, which is very un-Northwestern-like. Normally, they can't score and have a good defense. Tulane was an A team with a 20 defense. So the same coaches there. The new quarterback shouldn't be much. I think Tulane -1. I think they should be able to win the game against Northwestern. Northwestern doesn't show me that they're any good. Kentucky and Toledo. Kentucky 8.5, 48.5. The game's in Kentucky. Kentucky went from 10 to 8.5 and 48.5. Now that number hasn't moved. Toledo, an over team. A B team with the 21 defense, same quarterback and coach. They're very good in the MAC. Kentucky, always an under team with the 22 defense, new quarterback, and he's from Georgia. He didn't do anything there. And the same coach, Bobby Bowden's kid, I believe. Down to 8.5. Toledo, it's kind of a rivalry where Kentucky and Ohio are kind of neighbors border-wise, but I don't think it's a rivalry. Toledo can show them stuff. Kentucky, they'll play a good defensive game. Maybe it's an under, maybe it's a dog. Hard to say. Old Dominion and Indiana. We have Indiana 23.5, 54.5. We've got Old D as a B team, 28 defense, returning coach and quarterback. Indy, an A team, 14 defense, a new quarterback from the guy Mendoza from Cal, who was okay, nothing special, and the same coach. Now, the coach was from James Madison, who was a very good coach. So that hasn't moved. The fact that a lot of their players maybe were seniors and moved on doesn't matter. He still gets his guys. Plus, he recruited guys who are now, they were freshmen last year and now sophomores, so we will see. 23 and a half. It's how bad is Old D, the 28 defense. Now, Indy last year just blew out teams. They just killed you. And, is Rourke that good? Did they make him look that good? I don't know. I think he got drafted by the 49ers, Rourke. We'll see what Mendoza does. He's okay. It's just a scheme, and they play very good defense, which he did at James Madison. So I think Indy might bury him with their defense. Old D, I don't know. We'll have to see. Returning quarterback, so I'll look at his stats. Bucknell gets the Air Force. Go Air Force. Beat the Marine Corps. How come the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard don't have teams? Marshall goes to Georgia. Marshall is the Z team of college football. Georgia, 39.5, 55.5. What happened here? Marshall, 47 players left. They've got their coach went to Southern Miss, as I mentioned, so that leaves them with a first-time coach, a new quarterback. So this is what you get at Southern Miss, a 23 defense, not the 35 defense we were talking about. So Marshall was a B team, means Southern Miss is a B team. So Southern Miss had a 37 defense, will now get a 23, and they get the quarterback. So all these changes, a new coach, the new quarterback. Marshall's in trouble, hence the 39-point favorite. Total of 54.5. Is up to 55.5. Thank you very much. Georgia with a 20 defense. Now, Georgia's going to be pissed. They didn't win the title, so they're pissed. There's no pressure on them, but they're pissed. Georgia at home is different than Georgia on the road, and it's not, I don't believe, a neutral site. I believe it's between the hedges. And Marshall, like I said, they lost to Ohio State by 50 in their first game last year, second game to Ohio State. Look for Georgia to just rip them. Look for the defense to shut them out, and look for the offense. So, it probably is, 47-0, something like that. Georgia will probably get close to covering. Again, in our world, 33.5. And the total of 55.5, we can go under 61. I think that's the play, is the under, because Georgia will play mad this year. When a good team, now they were okay. If Carson Beck doesn't hurt his shoulder or elbow in the playoff game, they who knows? They were much better with Carson Beck. They beat Texas twice. Remember that. So they're not a bad team. But now they're motivated at home. They're not losing this game. This game will not be close. And Marshall can't really challenge them. First-time coach, Georgia wears red. He won't know what the fuck he's doing. All right, then we get to Nevada and Penn State. Let's find that one. Penn State, Jesus Christ. Penn State 45, 57.5, down from 59. People are betting the under. The sharps are betting the under. Nevada's an E team, 28 defense, new quarterback, same coach. Penn State, an A team with the 16 defense, and we know about the Ellard, who's really a choke, and the coach is there. Franklin, not a great coach. Loses a lot of big games. Can't seem to beat Ohio State, which Ohio State can't seem to beat Michigan. And Michigan can only beat Ohio State. They got spanked by Washington and Oregon last year, Michigan. I think Penn State blows them out here. I think the new quarterback for Nevada, you had a 28 defense playing in the Mountain West. Penn State at home. Again, they're kind of pissed because they lost. 45 is a big number. 57.5 total. I just think Penn State scores in the 40s here. I don't see them not. Will Nevada's do much? Maybe they get a fluke touchdown. Maybe it goes over. Maybe it goes under. It's a hard call. But the 45 is just too big of a number. I can lay 39 and a half. I'm not interested, I don't think. I got bigger fish to fry. Temple and UMass. Temple 3.5, 49.5, down from 52. The sharps are betting the under, right? Profit. Temple is Z team, UMass is Z team. However, UMass gets the Sam Houston coach, so all of a sudden they're a lot better. Temple gets the Sam Houston coach, returning quarterback. So they're not a Z team no more. What was Sam Houston? They were an under team. So look for Temple to be more of an under team. The defense will go down from 35, and UMass is a Z team. They're a mess. 35 defense, new coach, new quarterback. So they're just a mess. They're the worst team. Temple was a Z team, but I think they're better. They'll bring in a little more defense. So 49.5. Yeah, probably an under game. Temple will play the tough defense, I think. Alabama goes and plays at Florida State, not in a bowl. It's at Florida State. Alabama 13.5, 15.5. So this is up from 12.5. Alabama, now they were a B team last year. They had a 17 defense. They didn't score as much, a lot of turnovers, because that was Milrose's fault, because Milrose can't pass. I remember that first game against Texas, and he throws the interception on the first play, and they score, and I loved it. So Seattle drafted Milrose. Why? Because he's an athlete. Then play him at fucking wide receiver. I don't get it. I'm not saying they're not good athletes. They should be wide receivers, because you see them in the open field, you can't tackle them. They just can't throw the ball. And that's fine. They're just not quarterbacks. But you got a talent like that, put him at slot receiver. I don't understand why it's so difficult. So Alabama, 13.5, 50. The new quarterback, he's like his third year behind Milrose, so he's not played anything. Same coach. Florida State was a Z team last year. Who goes from an A team to a Z team? 28 defense, new quarterback, get rid of Buglia, and the same coach. I love the coach, but you can't go to Buglia as your savior. I don't know. So Alabama, 13.5. Look for them to be pissed off. Now, how quick will the new quarterback adapt to the DeBoer offense? DeBoer had a great offense with Penix. And I don't believe it was all Penix, but Penix looked very like a superstar in that offense. And we'll see him do the same for Atlanta. He dropped balls in like no way he got the ball in, and it was just perfectly placed. The Florida State, the 28 defense could be the difference here, and how quickly Florida State gets their offense running. So I think Alabama normally starts the season good. I think they'll be I liked it at 12.5, 13.5. I got to go 7.5. See if you can get a 13 to go to 7. But look for Alabama to come out on fire. Right? They can't have another bad year. Coastal Carolina and Virginia. No, I got to find those. This is still the 30th. Okay, here it is. Virginia, 12.5, 57.5. They got a new quarterback from North Texas who was very good. Same coach. Coastal Carolina has a new quarterback, same coach. Coastal Carolina was an over last year with a 30 defense. Virginia, a W last year with a 29 defense. So there's not a lot of defense in this game. Question is, how good's Coastal Carolina's quarterback? We know how good Virginia. He's North Texas. They'd score 40 points a game with this guy. Look for Virginia to score a lot. The question's Coastal Carolina's quarterback. How good is he? So we will see. But Virginia, Coastal Carolina is like North Carolina. So Virginia could light it up with the new quarterback. There should be a lot of points in this game. Neither team has a defense. Let's see. My favorite team, UTSA against Texas A&M. Where are they? Here we go. So this was the first on the list, is now moved to a 7:00 game. All right. We have A&M 21.5, 56.5. Two over A&M's the favorite. UTSA was an over team, 31 defense. Quarterback's back, who's very good, McCown, and the coach is back, who's a very strong offensive coach. A&M, a B team with the 21 defense, new quarterback, Reed, and the same coach. UTSA, this is a tough spot to play them in. In conference, I love it. They will score. They're an over team. But A&M will blitz a lot and run a lot, and it'll be hard for McCown. They have to adjust to the pressure with screen passes. We'll see if they can do it. 21, total of 57. Maybe it's an over. A&M should score on them, but UTSA, I don't think will get shut out in the game. Their quarterback's just too good. So I don't know how else to play it. Maybe you take UTSA in 27, but I hate those. A&M comes in with the defense, SEC, and then they shut them out. So you got to be careful there. But keep your eye on UTSA. They're a good team, great quarterback. They will score on you. Let's see. In here, they've got the Division II games in with like South Alabama, Morgan State. So I got to pass that. Missouri State, who is now A1, a Division I team, gets USC. USC 35, 59.5, up from 32.5. So unfortunately, I don't have anything on Missouri State because they were Division II. Quarterback is back. The coach is back. USC, quarterback's back. Coach is back. Lincoln Riley. He's under pressure to win. They've really sucked. But I love Maivia, the quarterback from SC. He was good at Vegas. A little bit more of a running attack here. He's got to find it. But he did come in and play well the last few games with Lincoln Riley. It's just his passing attack. As everybody run deep and the quarterback runs and shit like that. Look for USC to blow them out. Now, again, Missouri State, I have no idea. They were Division II, and I can't even look at their games because they're playing Division II opponents. Now they got USC at USC. Look for USC to start off strong. They're going to want to put up a 70 and say we're back and get the votes and get the fans and say, look, we're really good, even though it's Missouri State. But I like Maivia. I think USC blows them out. I mean, they're going to put up 60 at least. New Mexico and Michigan, victors of the West, the cheaters, we'll call them. I can't believe Michigan had to resort to cheating. Bo Scheinberger would have rolled over in his grave if he saw that. Michigan 36-50, up from 35.5, 36, and down to 50. New Mexico was an over team, 38 defense. That's why. New quarterback, new coach. Devin Dampier was the quarterback. They put up a lot of points. He goes to Utah, and we'll keep our eye on Utah with Dampier. He's not a great quarterback. He was like 12 touchdowns, 12 picks, but he scores, and he obviously is a good runner. And Utah apparently can't get a quarterback besides Cam Rising. Michigan, an under team with a 20 defense, new quarterback, same coach. Again, they get Underwear, or they get who's a freshman, or Mikey Keene, but he's hurt. We'll see when he's back. Michigan will play the tough defense, I think. Um, I don't know how well this guy recruits or pays in the how much does Michigan pay in the transfer portal? Underwear is untested. He's a high school quarterback making the jump against New Mexico. Now they're at home minus 36. Michigan at home usually pounds the weak teams. 20 defense. They'll probably play good defense. New Mexico with the new coach and they're probably going to get killed in this game. Michigan will probably put up in the 40s because they'll probably play Mikey Keene if he's healthy. And let's see if they got injuries in this thing. Sometimes they do. Let's see. No injuries yet. I heard he got injured, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll check that out. If he's playing, then there should be an over. So I would start Keene. Second half, I'd play Underwear and see what happens. Anyway, it's a hard New Mexico, new coach, new quarterback, 38 defense. Michigan should put up a lot of points. The second big game of the week, we got LSU Clemson. Bobby, is LSU going to finally win a game? Week one. Clemson 3.5, 57.5. That number hadn't moved. LSU, more of an E team. They scored. I like Newsmeyer, 24 defense, returning coach and quarterback. Clemson, an A team, 22 defense, returning Klubiak and Dabo will be returning. LSU is going to score. Their quarterback's just too good. Clemson, Kubiak had a lot of Klubnik had a lot of touchdowns, except for this first game against Georgia where he didn't show up. Against the weaker teams, he shows up. We'll see how he is. But LSU's not a strong defense. Clemson is. So what you going to do here? Clemson 3.5. I believe this is a Georgia Dome or Mercedes Dome. I think this is one of those type of games. LSU starts out slow. They lost to USC last year, which was a joke. They will score. Clemson, I don't know how strong their defense is. They're saying it's a better defense. I have to see that because they haven't had a good defense in years. Klubiak, a lot of touchdowns against the weaker teams, but in the playoffs he lost, and against Georgia he lost. I don't believe LSU's defense is that good to shut him down. So I'd look for points in this game. Again, LSU with the 24 defense, probably not. Whatchamacallit, Brian Kelly, never known for the strong defense, always for the strong offense, even at Notre Dame. And Clemson, I mean, they used to have strong defenses, but that's been a while ago. So I think we'll get points here. UTEP and Utah State. This is way back here. So again, they moved this to a night game. I don't know why. Utah State 3.5, 60.5, up from 58.5. People, the Sharps betting the over, right? Profit. UTEP's a Z team with the 32 defense, returning quarterback, and a new coach. Utah State was an over team with a 38 defense, a new quarterback, and a returning coach. So how's good's the new quarterback at Utah State? They're favored. UTEP was a Z team last year. Both defenses suck. So what do you do when both defenses suck? You normally like to bet the over team. So I should bet Utah State because they're going to score, but then UTEP's so weak they can't counter it. It's kind of where the ranking comes from. Both teams suck defensively, so this should be a high-scoring game if UTEP can score, but you got a new coach. So this is a lot of unknown. This would be played better in week 3 or 4, but um, yeah, I don't know. Utah State, it's going to be a tough one. Georgia State and Old Mississippi. We're still there. Old Miss. Old Miss is now 38.5, 62.5, up from 36.5. Same 62. And I said the total didn't change, just the point spread. Georgia State was a W last year with a 33 defense. Old Miss had a really good defense, 14. They were an A team. Same quarterback and coach for Georgia State. Now Jackson Dart moved on to the Giants. So they got a new quarterback at Old Miss and the same coach. Will they have a 14 defense again? That was from the transfer portal. 62.5 defense. So is Old Miss going to run? Well, Dart was a runner. Now he was from USC too. He was a running quarterback. So I don't know how good he's going to be on the Giants. Probably another slot receiver, right? That they're trying to fit in at quarterback. Not a great arm, not a great accurate, but he can run. He'll run a lot. Russell Wilson's much better. So we'll see. Old Miss, I wouldn't lay 38 with the new quarterback. But yes, I can see why Georgia State with the 33 defense. So maybe we get a lot of points. I don't know. We need to know more about Ole Miss's new quarterback. Rice and my Lou Lafayette. Oh, I love Lou Lafayette. Lou Lafayette. 13.5, 49.5. That number hasn't moved. Rice, an under team with a new quarterback as Kurt Warner's kid moved on, and they got a new coach. Lou Lafayette, an A team with the 23 defense. They got a new quarterback and the same coach. And that coach is the difference there. Good coach at Lou Lafayette. Elaine 14, but do you know what you're getting in Rice? You got a new coach and a new quarterback, so they're unknowns. We do like Lou Lafayette. Again, they have a new quarterback, so it's kind of a game to watch and learn because you just don't know what Rice is this year. Are they going to suck again or what? Eastern Michigan, Texas State. Texas State, I love the coach. 14, 58.5. Hasn't moved. Eastern Michigan's an over team with a 28 defense, a new quarterback, same coach. Texas State was an A team with a 24 defense, new quarterback. We loved their quarterback last year and the same coach, but the coach is a very good offensive coach. So this 14 should be a joke. Texas State should just pound them, even with the new quarterback. I'm sure I'm sure it's a good system, but they would pound you. And Eastern with the 28 defense. It's at Texas. Yeah, look for Texas State to pound them. Lamar, North Texas. We'll see how North Texas is. They're usually a strong offensive team also. BYU gets Portland State. SMU gets East Texas A&M. Oh, now there's A&M. There's East Texas. It's probably a West Texas A&M. New Mexico State gets Bear Bryant. Okay, Fresno State, Georgia Southern. Fresno State, 2.5, 53.5, down from 54.5. Georgia State's an over team with a 27 defense, same coach and quarterback. Fresno State, again, an even team, new quarterback, new coach. It's Kurt Warner's kid. That's right, a new coach. 2.5. That doesn't say a lot. Georgia Southern's a pretty good team. Fresno State with a 25 defense, Georgia Southern 27. We should see points in the game. Georgia Southern probably a live dog here as they are an over team with the same quarterback where Mikey Keene's gone. So Fresno State We're not sure. So I'll look at my quarterbacks and see if I can make heads or tails. There wasn't a whole lot of good ones last year. There was a few. Some years you get quarterbacks throwing 40 touchdowns, 35, 45. Joe Burrow threw 50 something. And last year it was a bunch of 20s. I mean, there was two or three in the 30s. That's why, that's why Cam Ward won. He threw like 37 or something, which is average. But in that year, it was good. So that's what you have with that. So we will see. What was I talking about? Fresno State. So Fresno State, I don't know. I think Georgia Southern could be a live dog there. Cal and Oregon State. Here it is. And this game we're still on the 30th. So there's a ton of games on the 29th and a ton of games on the 30th. All right. And you realize why they do that. It's for gambling. It's because if they put the game alone, like a Thursday night game, you're going to bet on it. But if you threw it in the Sunday games, pro games, right? If you have the list of Sunday, you're picking out 3 or 4 of the best games on the sheet. But if you put a Thursday night game, people will bet it because it's Thursday night and they want the action. I don't. I look at the whole week and I take out my best games. And if Thursday happens to be a good game, but I'm very leery of Thursday because the players aren't ready because they played normally after a Sunday, they played Thursday. They're all banged up. You're not getting a good effort. So I normally avoid Thursday nights with the plague and stick to the Sunday night or Monday night games as players in the routine. They should be healthy enough for that game, but don't kid yourself. Every NFL player is hurt. So don't think like, oh, they're healthy. They're never healthy. All right. We got Oregon State 351.5 here. Cal was an E team, 22 defense, and Mendoza went to Indiana. So they got a new quarterback, same coach. Oregon State, an E team, 30 defense, and a new quarterback who's supposedly good and the same coach. So maybe you jump on Oregon State at home, but their defense sucked. The same coaches. So I think Cal's coach is good. I think Justin Wilcox, I like him, or at least I think I like him. They're both E's. So again, it's Oregon State with the terrible D. I'm not sure why they're an E team. Usually it's like an E teams usually score about 23, 24, 25, 26 and give up the same. So they're even. So I don't know how to categorize it. But with a 30 defense, that's why I put the defense in. Again, it's last year's, but what else do we have right now? Hawaii goes to Arizona. Let's see. Where's this game? Here it is. Arizona 13.5 and 53. That number hasn't moved. Hawaii, as we said, is an under team. The new quarterback who did play the last game. And Timmy Chung is still the coach. And Arizona was a W team. They sucked last year. Same quarterback, Fajita, who was very good. And then the coach went to Washington, and he was not very good. And the same coach. So that's why I'm not sold on McMillan, who was very good with the Washington coach and not very good last year. So be careful with him. 26 defense, Hawaii, Arizona with the 32 defense. I don't see it getting any better. You have the same coach. So this could be a high-scoring game. We'll see. Fajita, I like a lot, the quarterback. And it is at Arizona. So for Arizona, we'll see how Hawaii does against Stanford. But I think Arizona wants to get off to a good win. Colorado State and Washington. Look for Washington this year to be very good. Washington is 19.5, 52.5, up from 18.5 and 52. Colorado State, an E team, the 24 defense, returning coach and quarterback. Washington was an under team with a new quarterback and the same coach from Arizona, who's a very good coach. Look for them to be very good this year, Washington. again, you had to replace Tabor, and then you had to replace Penix, and that's not easy to do. So now the coach from Arizona should get his feet wet. And that I was listening to this guy on the radio say that the new coaches get 2 years and then get rid of them. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They should get, depending on the coach, you get a coach like this from Arizona who is really good. He should probably get 4 years because he's a very good coach and he probably won't need 4. Look at Brian Kelly went from Notre Dame to LSU. You're going to give him 2 years? Well, he hasn't done anything, but I'm not getting rid of him. And then it depends who you're going to replace him with. So if you got a good coach, he gets more. If you're just closing your eyes and picking a coach, and it's his first time coaching, like Johnson at Chicago, Johnson probably gets 2 years, but his handicap is he went to the wrong city because he went to Chicago and he's got Caleb, and they're really dysfunctional. So the fact even when Ditko was there and they won the Super Bowl, they were dysfunctional. So Ben Johnson's at the wrong place, and he's tied his wagon to Caleb. Instead, it should be Badgett. Badgett's the better quarterback, but he'll go with Caleb because they're paying the money. He's the first draft, and he's there to try to prove he's good, and he's not. Lincoln Riley couldn't make him good, and Cliff Kingsbury's the offensive coordinator, couldn't make him good. Ben Johnson's going to make him good? Well, with his little running and play action passes and all these little reverses. Yeah, Caleb, no, sorry. Anyway, so look for Washington to be much better this year. Lane 19, Colorado State, 24 defense. I'd be a little leery at 19.5, but I think Washington gets the win. Utah, UCLA. Utah is 6.5, 50.5. Number hadn't changed. Utah, an under team, always has a very good defense, a 20 defense. UCLA was a W with a 25. Now, Utah gets Devin Dampier, as I said, from New Mexico, and it was a high-scoring team. Look for Utah to score and the killer defense. The coach is still there. UCLA has the volleyball player from Tennessee who kind of sucked, and the coach is back, but he wasn't. He was his Foster was his first year. He was never a coach before. So I don't know that UCLA, they're in trouble. And I don't think the volleyball player is going to make a difference here. Utah will bury them. And with Dampier, look for Utah here. This should be, let me mark it because I got to find them. Okay. We'll look for Utah to have a good year, provided Dampier doesn't get hurt, like Cam Rising got hurt. If Cam Rising didn't get hurt, they'd have won the title. They had a great defense and Cam Rising. And it's really a shame that he had to retire from his hand when he hit the Gatorade jug, not the knee, although the knee didn't look great. VTech, South Carolina. We got South Carolina 7.5, 48.5. VTech's B team with the 23 defense, South Carolina an A team with an 18 defense. So it's the defense that's intriguing. Both coaches and quarterbacks are back. Norris, the quarterback, South Carolina's pretty good. He's a good runner. He's a big, strong guy, decent thrower. South Carolina at home, I think, takes it. Virginia Tech has a decent quarterback, but I just think South Carolina at home, if they still have the 18 defense, is the play here. Good coach, and Norris now has a year under his belt. Notre Dame at Miami. They're trying to make Miami better. They're not going to be very good. They weren't very good last year. Cam Ward just ran around a lot, but defensively, and they still got the stupidest head coach. Oh, I can take a knee and run the clock out. No, I'm going to hand it off, and we're going to fumble, and I'm going to let Haynes King throw a 50-yard touchdown on us. Oh, God. Notre Dame, 2.5, 50.5, down from 54. Notre Dame's going to run it down your throat. They're an A team with a 14 defense. New quarterback, we have no idea. Same coach. Miami of Florida, an over team. Also, they lost Cam Ward and a same coach. I don't like the coach at all. Miami had a 24 defense. Look for Notre Dame to run it down their throats. Play the tough D. Beck was good at Georgia. I don't know what he's going to do here. I don't know if he's that much of a runner. So I think he's more of a pocket passer. So look for Notre Dame, only laying 2.5. Or you can go under 50 with that strong defense. In our last game, TCU and North Carolina, it's actually on 9-1. That's how I missed it. TCU 358.5. That stayed. Returning quarterback Hoover, returning coach, good coach, North Carolina. New quarterback and Belichick's girlfriend as the coach. TCU scores, and North Carolina was pretty weak. Now Belichick will probably install some hunky-dory defense. Offensively, he was kind of weak. Brady ran the offense, so I don't know what they're going to get or who their quarterback is. I love TCU if they turn dog on this. Maybe you go over, but Belichick can surprise with the D. He's good at coming up with the defense, so be careful there. But I do like TCU minus only 3 there. So that is it. That is week 1. A lot of games, we got to get used to. Basically, if you got the returning quarterback, even Dampier goes to Utah. We kind of know what we have. It's the new guy at Ohio State. It's the new guy at Alabama. Even the new guy at Georgia. You don't know what you have. New guy at Wisconsin. You don't know what it is. So it's going to take you about 3 games. Well, in Ohio State's case, they get Texas. It's going to take you 1 game. But the others are going to take you a few games, especially when you play the high school team. Then you really got to just kind of look at the stats, but ignore the score because you can't use the high school team and then here comes Ohio State and say, oh, well, look, they beat this team 60-0. Yeah, they were in high school. Now you've got a real team. Look for teams that are pissed off. Utah, Ohio State, or not Ohio State, Utah, Alabama, and Georgia. I don't know how pissed Texas will be. They were just lucky to get there. Look for Tennessee to have a good year. South Carolina on. I'd look for TCU and Baylor to have a really good year. Colorado will drop back. Prime's got to go. He's got to be the coach now of Cleveland because he's got to coach the son. That's the only way the son gets on the field. If he was the coach at Cleveland, Prime Jr. would be the starter. That's how hysterical this is. Michigan, we got to see how underwear works. The new kid from a high school quarterback. Ohio State is under big pressure to beat Michigan. Okay, I don't care if they won a national title or 10 national titles. They've lost 4 in a row to Michigan. You cannot lose 4 in a row to Michigan and be the head coach. Look at Earl Cooper or John Cooper. He was like 90-4, and they fired him because he lost 4 games to in a 10-year span. He was like 2-8 against Michigan. Earl Bruce couldn't beat Michigan. That's the key. You have to beat Michigan. Period. Winning the national title is a fluke anyway, and that won't happen again because you don't have the offensive coordinator's gone to Oakland. You have no quarterback. This is going to be an ugly year for Ohio State. They'll be lucky to beat Texas. Well, it's going to be an under game. So go to defense first because defense always shows up. If it's the same coach and you had a good defense, like Georgia, you're going to have a good defense. Texas, you're going to have a good defense. A new coach, you don't know what he is and where you're going. Then there's coaches like Major Applewhite at Southern Alabama. He's going to be an over. You've got the guy at Texas State, is going to be an over. You've got the coach at North Texas State and Texas State and North Texas. They're high scoring guys, so they'll put in a good offense and but they won't have much defense. Those are over teams usually, and then you got your defensive teams. So what is your team over under? Are they A or Z? It's important to know that because you want to bet against weakness, art of war. You want to bet on against the Z teams, normally with an over team, right? So you got a team that, like Texas State last year, I locked against some Z team and I won 50-0. And I go, how'd you pick that one? Because I got a good offense against the Z team. That's why it's important. A Z team, they score like 15 points and give up 35, 40 points. So they're not going to stop a good offense, but they don't have any offense to score. You have that strong offense, and then the other team can't keep up, and because they have a weak defense. You always want to bet strong offense against weak defense. What you want to avoid is strong offense against strong defense. So that's why Ohio State and Texas is first one to 14 wins. You're not going to get points in that game. Both have very strong defenses, although I'm worried about Matt Patricia at Ohio State. Seriously, this is who you chose? It's like going to Oogly at Boogly at Florida State. Really? This is the quarterback? It's just amazing because we can see it. I can see that the guy sucks. Apparently they can't. Yeah, Daniel Jones. Let's make him the starter at Indy because he did so well at the Giants that they paid him off to leave. I mean, if you're going to Daniel Jones at Indy, now I hope they go to Riley Leonard. He's their best quarterback at Indy. That was a shrewd pick. That was a nice pick for Indy. Certainly better than Tyler Shaw, and he's certainly better than Cam Ward. I don't get Cam Ward. Go back to Washington State. He did nothing. I should bring up the Washington State odds. But he didn't do much. I remember we had a guy come out and say, how about Cam Ward? And I said, well, let's see him on the road. And he got goosed by Oregon and Washington and, UCLA, and that was the end of Cam Ward. So it's easy in the ACC to look good when you don't have much defense. It's like the Big 12. They look good. They don't have much defense. So we will see. Oklahoma, how good are they? I think they still stink. I don't like their coach. You haven't gotten rid of the problem as the coach. You haven't gotten rid of them. Will Ole Miss be good? I don't know. They'll have an offense. He's good. Lane Kiffin's good with the offense. Defense, they got lucky. They got in some good defensive guys last year, so we'll see where they are. Tennessee, I don't know. They lost Pierce. Are they going to be strong defensively? Georgia, Alabama, they will be pissed off. Washington, I think USC wins the Big Ten with Maivia, or at least they compete for it. I don't know if they can beat Washington. Washington should be good. It's this cross travel. Yeah, USC gets to play Penn State, and they go to Michigan, and then they're home for Ohio State and Illinois. I mean, it's such a huge advantage if USC, UCLA has to travel to the big, even Penn State or Maryland. It's such a big advantage for the home team in this whole crazy Big Ten. That's really the Big 18. But look for Oregon's always there. I think USC and Oregon will be good. Washington, don't sleep on. Ohio State will take at least 1 or 2 steps back. Penn State is not as good as you think. Michigan, we have to see how Underwear does. I think they're a year away, and how good's their defense going to be. Don't like their coach. And then we've got Illinois is a very good team to bet on. They'll be under spread. Indiana should be very good. So you're looking a lot at coaches, quarterbacks, and then the defense. And so if you see a 10 or 12 or 13, if Georgia goes back to their 7-8 defense, look out. Now, Dan Lanning was the coach, moved to Oregon, and their defense have been pretty good. The problem is he's a terrible coach. Yeah, let's go for it on 4th and 1 at the 1, although we need a field goal to win the game or whatever. Jesus Christ. I'll never forget against Washington. He's got the ball with a minute left at the 50. It's 4th and 1. All you need to do is punt. No, he's going for it. He doesn't get it because he runs up the middle, and then 2 plays later, Penix, 30 yards, touchdown, win the game because this idiot wouldn't punt. I don't get this 4th down stuff. And again, be careful of these analytics. They're bullshit because, like I said in the pros, it's all Philadelphia doing the Bush tush, and it's all Josh Allen running around end. That's 90% of your 4th down conversion. So take that out. And what's the 4th down conversion rate? That's why you have to dig in. You can't just give this overall, in the NFL, 60% of the time on 4th down, they get it. Okay, take Philly and Buffalo out. Now what's the rate? Oh, it's about 20%. Yeah, but they don't say that. All right, we got our baseball for today. Again, it's Milwaukee 5 units, KC 2, White Sox over 8.5, 2, San Diego 3, the Phillies under 8.5, 3, Seattle 3, Seattle under 8.5, 3, Cleveland, the Mets, and Houston. See how quickly we're on the Mets and Houston. Streaks are Milwaukee on a 12-game win streak, again, going against Pittsburgh on a 5-game losing streak. And then we got San Diego on a 5-game winning streak going against San Francisco on a 5-game losing streak. So it's perfect. No travel there, so it should be fine. Tampa Bay went to Oakland, so that's your big travel. And Oakland beat them yesterday. So be careful with that. Let's just take our look at gold. Maybe we'll do economics later. Gold is at 33.59. So it did its little dance at 10 o'clock. So when it went up at 10, you know it's going to go down, but then it came back. Silver holding steady at 38.47, which it's been doing until it went down to 37, and then it now it's shooting back up. We got to get it. Mark McGuire says, hey, we busted it. COMEX is, it's not controlled. Well, it still is. China will control the price. The problem is it'll be in yuan. So how does that affect us? There still should be the conversion from yuan to US. Right now it's 7-1. $1 buys us 7 yuan. Gold price at 40,000, divide by 7, and that's where we're going to be at. Not 40,000 yuan. So we got to understand that. So that'll be about 6,000 if it's at 40. So look for a higher number. Then divide by 7, at least now. The dollar is gone. It's toast. It's toast, Jerry. They can't sell at the auction. $100 billion, they didn't sell any. Nobody wants it because they realize the dollar's got no value because you printed the shit out of it. You printed it for the FX exchanges and you printed it for the petrodollar. Neither are being used anymore. So all those, you got $150 trillion coming home. That's massive inflation, massive printing because you've killed the demand. The dollar's gone. But so is the Chinese. The yuan dollar is not worth anything either, unless you back by gold. China, 70,000 tons of gold. Like I said, the BRICS, Russia, 25,000, India, 30, Saudi Arabia, probably 15, Brazil, probably 10, 15, South Africa, obviously a lot. Africa is now holding their gold. Doesn't really affect the price. It's going to stay in Africa as opposed to being shipped other places. Does the U.S. have gold? That's a debate that I'm going to say, if they did, why aren't they using it? You've got a $37 trillion debt, soon to be 40. You can't balance your budget because you have too much spend in the government spend, Social Security, and your debt interest and the military spend. So you're spending more than you're taking in. That's bankruptcy. So you're bankrupt, U.S. So we will see. This whole summit with Putin's a joke tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow or Friday. That's a joke. There's nothing there. Look for Trump can't end the war. He's not even in the war. It's different if the U.S. and Russia were at war, which basically is what's happening. The U.S. is at war with Russia, using the Ukraine to fight for. I've never seen that before. Can you imagine World War II? Hitler, yeah, we don't want to lose our own men, so we're going to have the Poles and the Czechs fight wearing German uniforms. What kind of joke is that? But see, when they don't surrender, Hitler lost a lot of military, a lot of soldiers because they wouldn't surrender. So they just kept fighting and killing them all. And that's what you have here. The Ukraine won't surrender. So they're just going to kill all the soldiers because you're leaving Russia no choice. We want to settle. We want peace, but you don't want to surrender. So we're going to kill you. I mean, what other option do we have? It's crazy. So I talked to Jenna last night and I said, well, I hear they're going to start bombing Odessa. She says they bomb it every night. I don't know how you live in those conditions. I don't know how you sleep in those conditions. It's terrible. It's just a terrible thing. We're 2025 and we have 3 wars going on. There will not be a war with U.S. and China. That's all about gold-backed currency. The U.S. knows they're gone if gold-backed currency hits. Well, guess what? China's done gold-back with Africa now. And Saudi Arabia has a vault, and they're going to be gold back, and they're going to take the yuan for the oil, and then they're going to go to the vault in Saudi Arabia and take the yuan and buy gold with it. So they are going to get gold for their oil. So that's what's coming. Hope I haven't missed anything. Baseball, college football. We talked preseason yesterday. You can see the picks. Now, as football comes, we'll get more into it. The site's up, ready to go. There's no picks posted yet because I'll start posting the college soon. Pros, I'll wait probably till the week before the first game just to see the end. There's a lot of injuries I'm seeing. Nothing too major, but Jordan Love's out for a couple days or a week. Had some sort of surgery, but he should be starting. Who knows? They're of course going to say that. Hutchinson for the Lions, we have no idea. I don't think he'll play until October, but if he does, he's gonna break it again. It's not healed in a year. It's got to be a year. That's October. So good luck on that. What else? So that's kind of it. Look for COMEX to break, as we've said. It's just about gone. We still see this little bullshit 10 o'clock thing and this other, but basically, like China and Russia, they don't care if it goes down. They're just buying cheap, and they're going to ask for delivery, which they can't do, and that'll end COMEX. COMEX has to, once Basel III comes, you have to deliver the gold when somebody wants it the next day. And the U.S. isn't doing that. Well, how long is that going to go? It's not going to keep going. They're going to say, fuck you, and that'll be the end of it. Because you don't fuck with China and Russia on their gold. So the U.S. wants to play stupid, or Trump, I don't know if he has any. I saw this thing on Trump yesterday. Maybe I'll show it. It was a short with Barbara Walters. Let's watch that. Let's have a good laugh. And I'm just about to watch this one. Our doctor saying castor oil and black seed oil, I think it gets rid of spots on you and stuff like that. Nevada tourism plunges. Basically, nobody wants to go there. It's too expensive. These resort fees, the food, these people running these hotels are absolutely clueless about business. You don't raise prices to raise revenue. You lower them. You get people into the casino. Your thing is the casino makes the money, people gambling, but you don't make it $50 a hand, and you don't make food so expensive that you have to leave, and the food court so expensive to make money on it, and $50 parking. You're out of your fucking mind, these people. I watched this one. I don't know. It wasn't even Mark McGuire. It was kind of like, I don't know who would master shift ahead. All it's saying is China will control it. Gold will be no more. I don't know. It's got nothing to do with what was said. I hate when they do that. They say it and then they don't talk about it. But all he was saying is China will take over the pricing, the physical price. They have a lot of gold, but their yuan's worthless. All right, let me see this Trump thing. Once you see this, you're kind of like, can you explain how he became president? Like this one, Hulk Hogan's daughter exposes, she didn't even talk. This one, she says gold at risk. It's not. She's talking about paper gold. So it makes it like, oh, gold, what are they going to do? Take my gold? Or no, it's the derivatives and options that's at risk. Well, big fucking deal. We already know that. Let's see if we can find it. I thought I watched it yesterday. Well, I know I didn't watch it Sunday. U.S. lumber giant collapses, housing market collapsing. Oh, wait, it was a short. Here it is. Okay.
You write in your book, my bankers and I worked out a terrific deal that allows me to come out stronger than ever. I see the deal as a great victory, and eventually the rest of the world will too. Being on the verge of bankruptcy, being bailed out by the banks,
well, you don't have to
skating on thin ice and almost drowning, that's a businessman to be admired.
You say on the verge of bankruptcy, Barbara, and you talk on the verge, and you listen to what people are saying.
I talk to your bankers.
Well, that's fine. And what do they say? I mean, depending on which banker you're talking to, what do they say?
The only way you even have a chance is by selling the property out there totally in the plaza.
Well, I don't know what the bankers have said. The plaza is a very valuable property. Everybody told me, oh, you paid too much, you paid too much. Now they're all saying, what a great deal he made.
No, they're not. You
I love how she burns him.
My bankers and I worked out a terrific deal that allows me to come out stronger than ever. I see the deal as a big victory, and eventually the rest of the world will too. Being on the verge of bankruptcy, being bailed out by the banks,
well, you don't have to say
skating on thin ice and almost drowning, that's a businessman to be admired.
You say on the verge of bankruptcy, Barbara, and you talk on the verge, and you listen to what people are saying.
I talk to your bankers.
Well, that's fine. And what do they say? I mean, depending
They
on
say you're on the verge of bankruptcy.
The only way you even have a chance is by selling that property out there totally in the plaza.
Well, I don't know what the bankers have said. The plaza is a very valuable property. Everybody told me, oh, you paid too much, you paid too much. Now they're all saying, what a great deal he made on the plaza.
You write in your book.
Just so classic. Would you have elected that guy president? We did. No, I didn't, but. And notice how well, it depends who you talk to. She says, I talked to your bankers. Well, I haven't talked to my bankers. What do you mean you haven't talked to your bankers? They're your bankers. Of course you talk to them. So he's going broke. That's 1990. Now it's 35 years later, and now the whole country's broke because of this idiot. What a moron. Oh, my God. And that's where we're at. Anyway, I thought I'd share that lovely interview. Barbara Walters, man, she just said, nobody said it was a good deal. And your bankers, see, she comes in and informs. She says, no, I talked to your bankers. They said, you're broke. It depends who you talk to. Well, I talk to your bankers. Like, so she comes in talking to the bankers, listening to what they're saying, not to Trump. And Trump's trying to like mumbly bumbly, going, oh no, we're not bad. You got to sell the plaza to stay in. He probably sold the plaza, I guess. And he said, everybody said it was a bad deal. Well, I don't know about that, but I don't know if it's the only thing left that you have. So here's this idiot who can't, everybody thinks he might be rich, but it was from his father and real estate in New York, owning the buildings, but he didn't do anything. And now he's showing you how stupid he is. Oh yeah, let's do tariffs because we know those cause depression. So let's do that. Oh my God, it's sad. Anyway, main point, this is zero, this is zero. All of the currencies are zero. So that's the first thing you must understand. And then what do you do about it? You get out of them. Fortunately, you can still Rumpelstiltskin. You can still sell them and buy gold and silver. My guy, most of these gold places will still take money for it. Thank God for that. So you get out of your dollars. You're in the stock market. Get the fuck out of it. Forget listening to CNBC and Kramer and all these guys. Oh, the stock market's fine and can never go down. Yeah, we heard that in 2008 that the mortgages will never go down. You got to get out of it. It's not a good thing. The question is your risk. Do you want to take risks with your stock, or do you want to be no risk in the portfolio in gold and silver? It's all up to you. Gold and silver is manipulated. It has nothing to do with anything. It's basically based on the fact that the dollar's worthless, printed to zero. So you need to get out. So you go to gold and silver. That's it. It's got nothing to do. I guess that's inflationary, but it's the dollar being worthless. So you go into gold and silver. Everything else doesn't matter. Bonds or interest rates or anything else has no effect on gold because you're getting out of gold at whatever the cost is. It could be $5,000. I'm still buying gold. I'm buying gold until I run out of money, monopoly money to buy it. Because the more gold you have, you're going to make a fortune on it. But it's to protect yourself. So you get out. You got $500,000 in your 401k. Get the hell out of it. Get out of it. All right, pay your tax, whatever, and then go buy gold and silver with it. And you better be careful because there's not as much gold to buy as there used to be. It's more expensive than it used to be, but you buy it now at 3,500 when it hits 10 grand, but you're not even buying it for the 10 grand. You're buying it because your 500,000 in the stocks are going to be worthless. Because not only that, but the money is worthless. So if this is zero, anything in this is zero. Your house, your car, your stocks, anything. Your annuity at 10%, 10% of zero is zero. So just realize what's happening. That's all I can say. Once you get the first concept that the dollar is worthless, oh no, the dollar can't go out. Yeah, ask the Romans how that happened, how that worked. Everybody says, "Wow, that'll be a while." Well, I don't think it'll be a while. I think we got about 6 months left, maybe. I don't know what the real trigger is, but once the bricks are on the gold-backed currency, that's going to be mostly nobody's going to want the dollar. We won't be able to trade with anybody because nobody wants the dollar. We'll need the gold-backed currency. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, that's the whole thesis, is the dollar's not worth anything. Oh, I can go to the grocery store. Yeah, and you pay, I'm paying $4 for a cantaloupe now. It's a fucking cantaloupe. Well, yeah, but so it's just the dollar doesn't have the value. And that's it. It's pure and simple, unfortunately. So you got to take it from there and just be careful with it. So anyway, I think that's about it. So college football, questions, comments, let's know. www.teaserking.com is where the site is. It's where the picks are. If you want to buy the year, you can make payments. It's fine. it's $750 for the year. The weeks are 75 college, 75 pro, 77 for the locks. But if you buy the whole week for $100, you get everything. You can buy the month, you get 4 weeks at a discount, or the year. If you just buy pro and college or locks, it's a little cheaper. But if you buy the $750 for everything, you get everything. You get the whole year, which is a huge discount. History's on there. What a teaser is on there. Why do we bet teasers? Because we can win a lot more. There's a lot of games that I would have lost, -7 down to -1, and they win by 3. That happens a lot. +2 goes to +8. I would have lost, but +8 wins. But it's always the game. We're looking at defense. We're looking at quarterback. We're looking at coach. And we have a real sixth sense for, Ohio State, Texas should be an under game. I don't trust Manning, and I don't like Ohio State's quarterback. So I already I can see, like, Prime Jr. is not that good. I can see how good, like, Dylan Gabriel's better, or I can see how good Daniels and Penix and Nix are versus May and Caleb. I have that sense by watching them to see if they're any good or not based on the plays and the way they handle themselves. Most scouts and GMs they're just clueless. As you can see, Daniel Jones on Indy, on my team? At best, he'd be a wide receiver. He would never be a quarterback on my team because he's shown he can't do it. So I want winners on my team, guys that want to play football. None of this hand-holding bullshit last week with the Lions and Atlanta where they quit. I don't want quitters on my team. Oh, he got injured. Well, it's football. Of course he got injured. He's going to get injured. That's what happens. They get injured. So anyway, that's what you're looking at. So anyway, have a nice day. I think we touched enough about econ right now. We'll talk about, the war. Russia won the war. They're all over the Ukraine. Ukraine has no defense. So that war is virtually over. I don't know. They're not going into Europe. They're not going to nuke anybody because they want to do business. If we nuke each other, there's nothing left. There's no point in it. There's no reason you would nuke anybody. I'll kill you. Yeah, and then they kill because they can counter, and that's it. So anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I love that Trump interview. Barbara Walters just nailed him. I loved it. All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. And I will talk to you tomorrow. You want to get my email and ask me football questions, baseball, on the homepage, Teaser King. Let me show you the site. So here's the site. My goal is to make you money. Here's the home tab. This just explains what a teaser is. I don't use the trends anymore. The odds takes you to another site where there's odds. The history shows you what I did. So as I'm going, you can see my winners and my losers. I don't not put them out. Purchase picks. You would click that, gets you these, and then you can take pro picks, college picks, or both. And you can see 75, 75, 100, then weekly, then monthly, and then the full year. The locks are over here. So you just click on it, use your PayPal if you prefer. Just Venmo me. Basically, my email is here on the homepage, and it shows you what comments I've gotten from other people. Go to the history page. The free pick I will do on here. I am on Twitter as the Teaser King. And then here's my email down at the bottom. So if you need to contact me, and a lot of you have, that's fine. So I have some people that Venmo me, and it's fine. I don't care. as long as I get money in and I run and buy gold and silver with it. So that is the site. I've been using it for 15 years since the internet was out and I could use it. And then you got me here. So you really can't leave me a message here unless you do it live. So the email is probably the best. Twitter, you can leave me a message. I used to be on Facebook, no more. I don't like my information being stolen by Zuckerberg. And I'm not really on Instagram too much. So it's basically hit me on my email or my Instagram, I guess. And that's it, or hit me here. So anyway, good luck to you. Have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. And I will talk to you later or tomorrow. I've already covered everything. I'll probably do one on the quarterbacks and run through like the bigger conferences. Because now just like here's the coaches, here's the quarterback type of thing. Just a real rough overview. But that's probably what I'll do. But I already have each conference. So if you go back on my videos that I've done, you'll see Big Ten, SEC, MAC, ACC, AAC, Mountain West. All of the conferences are there with a little detail. But I want to redo the Big Ten one because I was more or less reading out of the book. And now I go into my stats a little bit. So I will go through what I have stat-wise on my spreadsheet, which is a better analysis. But you just hear looking at like Marshall, oh, they lost 47 players. Oh, okay. Now we got it. So I think that's about it. Any questions, comments, let me know. I'll wait a minute. And feel free to, like David and Real D do, leave a comment. That's good. So I like that. I'm the best ever. Thank you very much. I do my best, and I think of you, and I keep it in English. So Mark McGuire will talk haircuts and rinse and wash cycles and all this. And I'm like, what the fuck's he talking about? So I try to keep it in English. But anyway, look for Vegas. Vegas is in big trouble. Nobody's going. Nobody wants to go. Nobody wants these resort fees. It's sort of like going to a restaurant and then I'll leave you. And it's all, I went to Morton's once, steakhouse, and it was like, here's $30 for a steak. Oh, you want a baked potato? That's $8. And you want soup? Oh, everything was a la carte. And, people don't like that. They just like if you go to like Texas Roadhouse, you get the steak, but you get two sides with it. Or even Red Robin, you get the burger, you get two sides with it. And there's something about putting it in the meal as opposed to leaving them separate. If I go to Coney, I get a burger and I get a chili, or I get fries, or I get a chicken noodle soup. It's $7 for the burger, and then it's $4 for chili or soup, or fries are $3 for fries. Where they really are trying to get you is on salads. And it's like, come on, salads are not expensive. I go to the grocery store, I get a red leaf lettuce and cucumber or celery and cauliflower and peppers, broccoli. And it's, I make the salad. I have it for a week. It probably costs me $10 and I get 5-6 salads out of it. So anyway, it's time for an omelet and some chicken. I think some chicken and an omelet right now, and then a salad later. All right, so I'm off to I've been adding now. I'm walking 1.5 miles. My back's getting better. I've lost a lot of weight. I can feel it. I can look at my sides and my belly, and they're much smaller than they were last Monday when I had to go to that interview and I couldn't fit into my clothes. Haven't heard from Ford yet, but I imagine it'll be at least 2 weeks, which is Monday's 2 weeks. So I might give him a call on Friday, just say, I'm just touching base. I'm interested. Let me know when you make a decision, type of thing. Otherwise, we don't know. And that's it. So have a good day, and go gold and go silver. Buy as much as you can. Price is immaterial because the dollar's going out and gold's going to go up higher and higher. The fact you have it will be fine. Keep it in a safe place. Do not keep it in a safety deposit box. That is a problem because when the bank closes, you won't be able to get into your safety deposit box. So be careful of that. You want to hold on to your gold. You don't want anybody else to. All right. Okay. I'll shut up. www.teaserking.com. Have a great day.